What's up, everybody? Episode 40 here. It's been a wild 2 weeks. Before that garage blog, my power went out. Then I had the garage blog basically a day or two after the power came back on. Got busy that weekend with family stuff. Came out here, cleaned the garage up, set up, the steel rack and some tube storage, some filler rod storage and some other stuff. Then, while doing the steel rack, I decided to hurt my back. Then my power went out again this weekend for 3 days. And so between recovering and another power outage, I just had it. I just needed to sit and relax. And today's my first day back in the garage, basically since I cleaned it. And then I haven't touched the car since episode 39, I think a week and a half ago. So 2 weeks ago, maybe even. I'm not even sure, honestly. But today I got back out here and I started pulling some measurements to get the main hoop. And then I did my first bend with my vertical bender. So I took some 1 5/8 chromoly. This was straight. And I marked it every inch. Okay. I marked it every inch except number 5 here. Just because I knew that was going to be like right in the initial part of the bend. I didn't bother marking it. I just used Sharpie initially, and then before I cleaned the tube, I went ahead and used my my Dremel to etch it, and you can see the numbers. So I marked number 4 inches is what it needed. 4 inches here is what it needed to have a good start point. So I marked my start point and then I went and bent 90 degrees. So this is a 90-degree piece with this bender. Now, we've talked about this before. I don't really want to give this guy any prep or props. While the bender does work, the shipping damage, I had to replace the cylinder, bolts were missing. This thing's got chipped powder coat. None of the holes were good. So I'll repeat that a few times, I'm sure, but we're not going to really talk about the bender. I recommend a Model 32 or Model 3 JD squared or a JMR bender. These dies are JMR, so this is a JMR die. This is 1 5/8 on a 6-inch center line. They have billet aluminum guides, and then this is obviously a big hunk of steel. So the die itself seemed to work pretty good. This is 1 5/8 083. And it did pinch the tube down a little bit more than I feel like my JD squared kit did. But it definitely will work. This is going to be plenty good enough and work really nice. So I got this guy going here. And then this will be used to mark out all the starting points of the main hoop. So as I'm laying the main hoop out on some board, which I got this board here. So this board will be laid down in this area here, and then I'll start marking it out. So I got to pull some measurements from the car, and I kind of started laying it out a little bit in the vehicle. So you can see back here, and I got some tape that goes all the way across right there. And then I got 2 plumb bobs that drop down. Now, each plumb bob, I got coming to a point where I think I'm going to do, I haven't decided if this is going to be the center or the outside, if I'm going to try and tuck it in, but it's probably going to be the center of the tube. So the center of the tube will sit right there. So this plumb bob will be right in the center. That one's equally spaced in the center as well. And then using the laser, checking the center of the vehicle from side to side. These lines are centered, but if you remember a while back, I talked about some of the damage and some of the weird stuff that I found, and the roof of the car, I believe, is shifted. So unfortunately, it's shifted. If you can see those Sharpie lines right there, it's shifted that much. So unfortunately, I don't think there's any way I can make the body line or the tubing to car be even on both sides without making the chassis itself not equal. That I won't do. I will not offset the chassis build for a crooked body. So what I'm going to do is build the chassis as square as possible up in there. And then if I can force the body one way or another, you know, with it cut the way it is, it may have some flex to it. So I may be able to force it over a little bit. I may put some gussets in so it's just not noticeable. I'm not really sure, but we're going to have to put it square in there. So essentially what I want to do with that main hoop is the B pillar right there is straight. So I want to come straight up with that main hoop and then match this angle. So you can see where the tape line is right there. Where the tape line is right there, okay? And I want to match that angle following up, okay? So whatever that angle is, I believe I measured it, it was like 6-7 degrees. So it'll come up, go 6-7 degrees in, and then obviously straight across the top. But it's not going to be here, right? It's going to be here. So I still want this bar to be parallel to the B pillar, but it's just going to be offset. So when you're looking through the back window, it just follows that nice same curve. So we'll go ahead and get that bar bent. That'll be the first one I'll do. So I'll take this, I'll do these measurements from side to side, the height, you know, the height from the bar to here, and then from there up across, and basically just put a bunch of straight lines on this guy here. And then I'll be able to take this and lay it between those straight lines and get my start point on each bend, okay? So the next steps will be putting the board down and really just getting all these lines drawn on the board, and then start triple checking all the measurements. And as long as I'm happy with it, we'll grab a 13-foot section, a tube. We will polish it up. We'll start marking some start points on it, and we'll get it bent up and then get it notched and get it tacked in the car. So I'm really excited to get this done. I know I've said that before. I feel like a broken record at this point, but you know, my family's first and life happens, and I appreciate everybody that still watches the videos and supports, and hopefully we'll get back to our regular schedule. You guys have a good night, and thank you for tuning in.